Hey friends, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lisa. I am so glad to have you with me today. Let me tell you, I filed my taxes for here, not for Kere, here a few weeks ago. And let me tell you, kimeniramba. No one ever prepares you, or no one ever tells you how living abroad as a student is gonna go for you. And let me tell you, I feel like it's different for everyone, but there's certain things that are a similar experience. Let's get right into it. I moved here as a student because I wanted a different experience. I wanted something I'd never experienced before. I wanted change as well. And I thought, what better way than to move and get the experience I want and get to see something different, like change. Because like I mentioned in one of my videos, I had been in a job for so long and I was like, it's either I change jobs or just move. So an opportunity presented itself and here I am. What would I tell someone who's planning to move? This is my experience as someone who has been living abroad as a student, and like I always say, experiences are different, but sometimes there's things that are similar in everyone's sort of journey. One thing that people always assume is that there's so many job opportunities when you move abroad. Wherever you are, you're guaranteed of getting a job and you're guaranteed of sort of like paying for your own school fees and stuff, which sometimes I've realized is not always the case. And I remember one of my agents actually took it upon themselves to tell us, it's not a guarantee that you're gonna get a job, we hope that you get a job. And that's something that I was like, in my head I was like, but I'm gonna get a job anyway. For me it worked out, but I know of people who actually struggled to get jobs, and by the time they got jobs, obviously their fees was due, they're trying to pay rent or move out from where they've been hosted and stuff like that. And let me tell you, it is not easy. It is not easy, let me tell you. Thankfully for me, I was hosted for about 3 months by friends of my parents, and within those 3 months I was at least able to raise my next semester fees, and I was able to also raise money that I needed to obviously move. It's different for everyone, and I feel like you shouldn't have, like, yes, probably have a timeline in place, but don't put pressure on yourself. One of the things you actually have to think about as you think of living abroad, especially as a student, is the destination, the city you're going to live in, the state you're going to live in. What does it look like? How many people are there? What are the job opportunities like? What is the demographic of that area? How many unis are there? What are the courses they offer and stuff like that? One of the things that has actually made me think about this is someone I know who's really struggled to get jobs, and I tend to think based on where they are compared to probably what they're doing. It's just that they're in a place where majorly it's a place for holiday makers, for example. It's a place where people go to either build their retirement homes and stuff like that, and it is not like as easy to get jobs as it could be in a different place. So when you think about these things, then you're able to realize, hey, I might make a wrong decision without knowing, or yes, this is the right decision for me. The second one is, even as you prepare for your journey, what do you need? I think I've talked about this in one of my videos. Of course, I've talked about the fact that you need a visa, you need to apply to a uni because you need a letter from the uni, you need your statement of purpose. I've talked about this in one of my videos and I'll link it down below, and you can just click on it so that you see exactly what you need to do even as you transition towards living abroad as a student. The other one I would say is culture shock. Culture shock, I feel like, is different for everyone. There are those ones who will be shocked that maybe there's no ugali. Others will be shocked that, hey, there are very few black people here. Or, yeah, stuff like that. It's very different for everyone. For me, I think my culture shock was like, hey, people out here are walking half naked. So I came in when it was summer, and summer is super hot, and I was literally just seeing men in their undies walking in the streets. I'm like, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to this. What is this? Why are you walking naked? Obviously I didn't say it out loud, but yeah, I was just like, okay, interesting. I like how people are open, but so for me, I'd say that that was like a big adjustment, so to speak. For you, it may be language, it may be culture. If you're going to India, for example, it's a different culture. If you're going to Germany, it's a different language altogether. So it's very different for everyone. You'll realize that in other places, some people are not as friendly as you would have thought them to be. I actually saw someone on TikTok say how they moved to America and they used to live in Australia. So Australia, there's this thing where many people, generally, not everyone, many people tend to just say hi to you. Like, they don't know you, but they'll just be like, hi, good morning, hi. So she went to America and she was shocked that people just ignore you, or people don't even say good morning, not even your neighbor. So this might be things that you think are normal in your country, and then you come and you realize, hey, no, this is not normal. The education system is something that, as a student living abroad, you'll have to adjust to. There's been assignments, there's exams, there's group presentations, there's class presentations, there's just so much to test your knowledge and make you an active participant in class that I haven't seen as much of back home. We had, of course, group presentations, we had all that, but it wasn't as active as I've realized or I've seen it now. And when you fail a unit, for example, in a university in Kenya, you have the choice of taking a supplementary test. But then here, you don't have the option. You have to wait and see if you're offered the option. So it's either you take a supplementary test if you're offered the option, or you retake the unit when it's offered in the following semester, which I don't mind, because if you retake the unit, that means your transcript won't have the failed or supplementary score. If you retake it and you pass, then it's just a pass. Like, the other one you did is just like a crossed thing, which I think is good. So adjusting to the whole education system is something that, as a student living abroad, you will have to know, because the whole purpose of you being abroad is because you're a student. And some places or some universities tend to take like class registrations very seriously. Like, if you don't attend class, they have the obligation to report you to the immigration department, and you could easily be deported for something that you didn't even think like was an issue or didn't even cross your mind. Of course, like I've always mentioned, if you're going to a country that does not primarily speak English, then you have to think of the language learning. How is that gonna favor you? Because obviously you're not gonna know all the vocabulary by the time you're leaving your country. So how is that gonna favor you? And how do you take advantage of it all so that you're able to communicate well? The other one would probably be in regards to travel and exploration, the opportunities that exist for you to travel, interstate. For me, at least, I've been able to travel, not so much, but at least I've been able to go to other states, which is pretty easy on a student visa, nothing major, as long as, of course, you have your identity documents. And yes, speaking of identity documents, one of the things that was a culture shock for me was working in a club, and then you have to give your ID. Like, don't I look above 18? Like, don't I look, I know black don't crack, but don't I look above 18? And so many times I never used to carry my ID because walking around with a passport is just so hard. So yeah, so that was one of the things I had to adjust to. And these days, every time I am like, are we going to the club? I have to carry my ID. So one of the things you have to walk around with a lot as a student is your ID, because you do not know where you are going, where things could happen, you know. Things could happen, things always happen, you know. So yeah, so as living abroad as a student, make sure you have your ID. How do you overcome challenges as a person or as a student living abroad? There's so many things like raising school fees, health issues, job opportunities. How do you overcome all this? To be honest, for me, one of the things is, like I mentioned in the Get to Know Me video, I am such a positive person and I tend to see the glass half full. So every time I've had a challenge, I'm just like, am I in control? No. What can I do about it? Nothing. Let's move on to the next thing, kind of thing. But things like, for example, if you're not able to raise your school fees, how do you do that? Thankfully, most unis, especially here, have resources and support kind of groups where you can easily go and talk to someone about what you're going through and stuff like that. So just remember, you are not alone. Like, in as much as, yes, you may have come here alone, or you may have you may be living abroad alone, you are not alone. The last one is a very important one, and that is building a support network. So you don't have to keep on telling your friends, oh, be my support network. No. As a student, the people you're interacting with in your class, the people probably you're working with, once you get a job, how are you interacting with them? Are you interacting with them out of class as well? Because I feel like this is such an important thing, and something that will help you see that you're not alone in your whole student journey. I like checking up with my classmates and just seeing, are we together or am I alone? And most times I'm not alone. Most, if not all times, I'm not alone. And it's such an encouragement to have people that are going through the same thing you're going through. People who are actually students. People who are not just students from here, but people who are international students. Because when you kind of like see someone going through the same thing you're going through, it kind of like gives you, like, it makes you feel better, if that makes sense. I think it's just something that happens in life. And yeah, it's something that I found really, really helpful as well in my journey as a student. Those are some of the things I would say, some of the tips I would give for someone who's living abroad as a student. I know sometimes it's tough. You're like, oh, the Australian government, for example, has reinstated the fact that we as students cannot work more than 48 hours a fortnight. How are we supposed to raise our fees? How are we supposed to raise our rent? How are we supposed to stay sane with all this pressure? But it's just about finding balance, to be honest. There's nothing we can do about it other than finding balance. Alrighty, I hope this video has helped you. I hope it helps you. If you know someone who's living abroad, is a student, is struggling, or is even happy, send them this video. Let them see that they're not alone. Let them know that we're going through this together. And if you're watching this and you're a student living abroad, remember, you and I, we are in this together. I will see you in my next one. Bye.